y'all, welcome back. I typically share your all stories on here, but if it's okay with you guys, I would like to share one of my own creepy stories that occurred in my childhood home. Now, for some backstory, I grew up in a very haunted house on a very haunted farm, and I have countless stories from my childhood in that house that I will be sharing on here. But this story actually took place kind of recently, so let's get into it. So this occurred one afternoon when my husband and I headed over there. We live like maybe 10 minutes away from my childhood home. So we went over to my parents' house one evening to have dinner with them and a few friends that they were inviting. And I always got to be early to everything. So the dinner was at like 6. I think we got there at 5. So we went there and we're just hanging out. Something to note, so activity was really bad in that house when I was growing up. And my mom said that things died down quite a bit when I moved out, but they didn't completely stop. She still experienced some stuff. And typically when I go over there and visit, something weird happens. But this might have been the weirdest and potentially the most dangerous. So upon walking into the house, like I said, it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I walk in, I look straight back in their house and notice that the chandelier in their dining room swinging. Nothing whacked it, nothing happened. I asked my mom, I was like, did someone walk by and just like hit it? Kind of like a 7th grader hitting the door frame of a classroom. No one touched it. So we go about our evening. I'm having like a glass of wine. I think it was like pink wine. I remember it being kind of see-through, and a little wine glass. I remember I drank one, and whenever the other people got there that were about to eat, I poured another. I had been drinking out of the same glass. It was with me the whole time. So I poured it, and I was looking at the glass, and I held it in my hands for like, I think I was sipping on it for maybe 10 minutes. And I go to just down the last little bit because we're about to eat. And as I pour it, I see something in the bottom of this tiny glass that wasn't there before. I look down and I see screws, like large screws that could have went down my throat. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but at the very least, that would have been a hospital visit. At the very least. I'm just now realizing how short that story was, so give me a second. Let me think of another good story that would pair with this, and we're gonna tell a bonus one. Okay, I thought of another one. I forgot that this happened. I don't know if I repressed it, but this wasn't the first time it happened, and I did remember the other one, so let's hear 2 more stories. So whenever my husband and I first got together, we had like sleepovers a lot when we were like 18, and my husband, then boyfriend, had stayed the night with me one night. My parents had already gotten up and went to work, I think, and I got up before him and went into the living room. I think I was like making us breakfast, but I was just like on the couch, trying to wake up before I did it. And the way my parents' house is set up, their couch was on like a wall here, and then across the living room was a door, and that was like my parents' bedroom, right? And their bedroom door was open. And I remember seeing a shadow dart into that room. And I screamed and woke up my husband, boyfriend then, who ran in there, and I was like, I saw a shadow figure dart into that room. I completely forgot that that happened until just now. Do you have anything else that happened to you there that you... Be thinking about it and chime in if you remember anything else. Oh,
it's really not enough.
Wait, do you want to come over here?
So this really isn't like an entire story, but like, I just remember the nights when I would stay. Whenever I would wake up in the morning, I would just hear like persistent knocking, just like, and it would sound like it was coming from the living room. And I always thought it was someone knocking on the door, and it like,
but
just,
you never
it just
told
never
me
was.
this.
Well, you know, because I remember I was like, hey, what's that knocking? You're like, that just happens sometimes.
I don't remember that at all. It did happen sometimes, but I don't remember that happening to you.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it would like, we would wake up in the morning and I would hear it. I'd wake you up and you'd be like, yeah, that just happens.
Do you remember where it came from? To me, it always sounded like it came from the living room.
It sounded like it was coming on the screen door of the living room.
Yikes.
Yeah.
No, something that happened. Okay, so there was always like darty shadow figures whenever I was growing up there. And one instance I remember is I had a friend over once who was like, for some reason, vacuuming. She was in, I think she just liked to clean, but she was in my parents' room vacuuming, and I heard the vacuum hit the floor, and she ran out of the room at top speed. And whenever she got to me, I was like, what's wrong? And she said this shadow figure had like leapfrog jumped over my parents' bed at her. And she would not go back in that room. I don't think she ever went back in that room. But this shadow figure like terrorized everyone in my house. My mom still sees it if it's the same one, which I assume it is, because like there's just a little like I'm a runner, I'm a track star energy that it just gives. Like it's always just on one. But my mom will see the shadow figure run back and forth. So the way their house is set up, you have their back door here, which has a window. And then you walk a few feet and it's their kitchen window, and a few more feet and it's their dining room window. None with a curtain. But my mom said she'll sit in the living room, look over at these 3 windows, and just see a black shadow figure run back and forth sometimes. And it stopped for a while. I've seen it too. It stopped for a while when I moved out, and it started back a little bit later, and she still sees it now sporadically. But we used to see it all the time. And I mean, I feel like it's the same thing because, like I said, it just runs. Like, it's got somewhere to be. I don't know why it needs to pass through my house to get there, but it has somewhere to be.
Also, in your bedroom, you had a vent that wasn't, like, connected to the HVAC or the AC or anything, like, whatsoever. But it was
above the door?
Yeah, it was above the door, and it would lead into the hallway next to the bathroom.
I think it was to promote airflow, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was, like, for airflow. But they always kept a light on in their kitchen, and that light would flood through. When we were laying in your bed at night, there would be shadows just going back and forth across. Like
you never told me that.
It happened to you. It's not my fault. You trauma blocked it.
No, but you didn't tell me. You saw it. I saw this stuff my whole childhood. No, you saw it.
Yeah, of course I saw it.
We had a conversation the other day, and he was like, I never see anything paranormal. And you just trauma dumped a whole block of it that you never said.
So this wasn't anything that I don't know. It wasn't anything that I personally saw, but your dog Finn would sleep with us in the bed a lot, and he would just randomly start barking. Like, I know dogs do that, but he would like stare right at your door and just lose his mind.
I like to think it might have just been my cat.
Well, yeah, but it was no noise. No noise was made. He would just stand up and start screaming.
You can hear Ben coming. Ben is Garfield. That's
Ben
my childhood cat.
He's
like 20 years old, and he's chunk.
The definition of the old lord. He coming. He fat. In circle.
I didn't know you experienced this stuff, because yeah, you're talking about things that I did experience.
I just remembered. Like, just now remembered. You triggered it, and like as I was listening to your stories. Okay, no, this is like not. This is probably definitely like explainable by science. But I had a Nissan Rogue. And it wasn't an all-wheel drive. It was front-wheel drive. And like anywhere I drove with this car, I could get to where I'm going. Like if it was like rainy, snowy, if it was like ice on the road, anywhere I could get just fine anywhere I needed to go. But anytime I tried to make it up your hill, the slightest amount of snow, the car would not go up. I would always have to floor it going up the hill.
Sometimes you had to park at the bottom of the block.
It's like something was trying to keep me down, or like keep me from getting. Like I said, this is probably definitely explainable by science, but it's just like that. Your house is the only place that I couldn't get to easily.
That's creepy.
Bye.
Oh my god. Everyone give a round of applause to Eric. He doesn't like being on camera. Well, that is all for today. We're having a conversation after because... But anyways, I will see you guys next time, and thanks for hanging out with us.